Music is different from any art form in the world because it has a unique power to take you back to a specific moment in your life. It's probably the closest thing we have to time travel. It allows you to relive a memory, or at least the emotion surrounding that memory, with unparalleled detail. You can be sitting in a restaurant or driving in your car, and a particular song comes on and it takes you to that exact time and place in your life, like no book or movie or painting could ever do. I guess that's part of the reason why I gravitated towards becoming a musician. It's what made me a fan of music and what made me want to make music in the first place. I've had fans hit me up from all over the world telling me that my music could change their lives, that my music helped them get off a drug or helped them through the death of a family member. You understand how important that is to me? That's definitely the best compliment you can get as a musician. It's why I make music. Everyone says this to the point where it's a cliche, but the money is secondary. I make music to move people, to inspire people. That's what I was put here to do, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
From basement rap sessions to becoming one of the most influential underground hip-hop groups, Vinnie Paz's journey is filled with remarkable twists and turns. In 2011, Jedi Mind released their first album without their key producer, Stu, forcing Paz to navigate a new creative direction. In 2012, he dropped his hard-hitting solo album, God of the Serengeti, followed by a series of releases that solidified his solo career. Paz's often controversial and raw music explores everything from religion to street life. But his story doesn't stop there. Vinnie Paz has consistently pushed the boundaries of hip-hop, tackling personal and social issues with unfiltered honesty. But who really is Vinnie Paz, and why has he become so important to the underground hip-hop scene?
Right? There's 52 weeks in a year. All right, you can't say I'm there every week because there's holidays, there's touring, there's Scott having other things to work on. But for the most part, I'd say 30, is that fair? 35 to 40 weeks a year. So say 40, say I do 3 things a week at 40. I'm creating 120 pieces of something a year. Like, they're not all great. They're not all good. There's a lot that's involved with it though. And a lot of it is me. It's like exercise, but it's rhyme exercise. I gotta keep my sword sharp.
Vinnie Paz was born in Agrigento, Italy on October 5th, 1977. He is an Italian-American rapper who is celebrated for his influential role in the hip-hop group Jedi Mind. Moving from Italy to Pennsylvania during his childhood, Paz discovered his passion for rap music early on, beginning his career at the age of 16. Initially performing under the name Icon the Verbal Hologram, he changed his name in the year 2000 to Vinnie Paz, inspired by the Rhode Island boxer Vinnie Paz. Over the years, he has been a driving force behind the success of Jedi Mind and has also made significant strides in his solo career. In 2023, Paz released his 8th solo album, All Are Guests in the House of God, cementing his status in the underground hip-hop scene.
There's not much intention behind how I move. I think there was with that song that didn't make it. I think there was, which says a lot about art, that I had this thing in my head that was going to be great. And it wasn't even good. I didn't even finish it. There's one verse. That's it. It'll never see the light of day. You know, I don't know if we're going to keep coming back to that and think like, can we get this right? You know, because the original record, obviously I'm not going to say what it is. The original record is so good. It's like, yo, can we get this? But it felt like we were trying to get blood from the stone.
Paz's lyrical style is known for its raw and gritty nature, often touching on themes such as religion, war, politics, mythology, conspiracy theories, and the paranormal. His unique style became prominent with the release of Violent by Design and has continued to evolve, becoming more refined over the years. Albums like Servants in Heaven and Kings in Hell highlight his direct approach to addressing political and global issues, adding depth to his music.
You don't know about the Gospel of Judas, about the information found in the Galapagos ruins. Yeah, how the warriors would sharpen their blades, how if they wanted to, the government could cure you of AIDS.
Throughout his career, Paz has used various aliases, including Icon the Verbal Hologram, Box Cutter Pazzi, the Pazmanian Devil, and Odrama Bin Laden, among others. Originally, he was raised as a Catholic and then converted to Islam. This change has greatly influenced his lyrics and often sparked controversy. His music sometimes involves provocative religious imagery, reflecting his personal journey and beliefs. Additionally, Paz's love for heavy metal is evident, as he occasionally references song titles and band names in his tracks with Jedi Mind tricks.
You know, my father and mother playing like Al Green and shit like that. Like, you know, I was into music so early because my parents and my brothers that I was into music like before the average person is, because my brothers are 11 and 12 years older than me. So they were like heavily involved with music by the time I was 5 or 6 years old. So I was listening to like, you know, in like, I heard Sucker MCs in my brother's car in like 83. You know what I mean? And like Black Sabbath, you know, metal stuff from my brother, and then, you know, hip hop stuff and then soul stuff from my parents.
Paz began his rapping career in the basement. Jedi Mind Tricks was formed in 1993 when Paz teamed up with high school friend and producer DJ Stoop in Philadelphia. In 1996, they released their first EP, Amber Probe, through Super Regular Records. This EP included 3 original tracks, 2 remixes, and 1 instrumental, all produced by Stoop. The following year, they released their debut album, Psychosocial CD, which initially sold 1,000 vinyl copies, but was re-released in 2003, reached combined sales of 25,000. The album explored themes of astronomy, history, and physics.
Return. 7 great sages throughout the ages say you burn. It's my turn to shine. I redefine the crystalline biological structures implanted in your mind. So I find the deaf, dumb, and blind.
It may be the dumbest idea in the history of music.
It's a great record. I mean, the title, I can't even remember the full title.
Psychosocial, chemical, biological, and electromagnetic manipulation of human consciousness.
There you go. There you go.
Why was it? What was I thinking? There was no, if you don't believe in like the punk rock ethic, then that should prove it, that we weren't trying to become darlings, you know, in any way. It was like, let me take something from the Bhagavad Gita, make that the cover, have an unpronounceable title.
In 1998, Paz expanded his musical activities by forming Army of the Pharaohs, a horrorcore group initially composed of Bahamadia, Chief Kamachi, Virtuoso, 7L, and Esoteric, and fellow Jedi Mind Tricks member Stu and Just Allah. They first released the tracks 5% Exertions and War Ensemble on Paz's short-lived label in 1998, but the group remained mostly inactive for several years after that.
That renaissance that was sort of, you know, started in the mid to late 90s and continued into the 2000s. They were all really talented people, you know what I mean? And a lot of them I'm friends with still, and they still have careers. Arsonist, Q Unique, Ill Bill, Cold Flow, Dilated. I mean, I bump into Dilated more in other countries than I bump into them here. And we always have this talk like I'm having with y'all. Things were elevating in a quote unquote underground sense, but it was still quality. It was still quality over quantity, and it still wasn't as accessible. It still cost, if you wanted to do a 12-inch, that cost money. Now no one's doing a 12-inch. They upload it onto some fucking blog or something, and it's free.
In 2000, Jedi Mind Tricks released their second album, Violent by Design. For this album, Stoop and Vinnie Paz brought in New Jersey rapper Just Allah, who, although not officially inducted into the group, played a significant role. His contributions were substantial enough to make him seem like the third member, instead of just a featured guest, like other close affiliates, such as Chief Kamachi, Esoteric, and Virtuoso from Army of the Pharaohs. During this album's release, Icon the Verbal Hologram officially became Vinnie Paz.
We itching to kill. That's why we spit in the rail. We stick to the trail and maybe we'll be gripping a mill. The clip will get spilled. Dump him on the ditch or a hill. Cause this motherfucker ain't let me shit in the thrill. Hey, y'all always sounding like a bitch when you spill.
In 2003, Jedi Mind Tricks released their third studio album, Visions of Gandhi. The title was inspired by a verse from Foxy Brown in Nas's 1996 album, It Was Written, where she mentioned visions of Gandhi. The idea stuck with Paz, who later connected it when they released another album, Legacy of Blood, highlighting the contemporary global issues at the time. such as the conflict in Palestine, the war in Iraq, and the imprisonment of Mumia Abu-Jamal. By 2005, Paz turned his attention back to the supergroup Army of the Pharaohs, working on their debut album, The Torture Papers, which was released on March 21, 2006, under Baby Grand Records. After its release, Paz rejoined Jedi Mind to work on their 5th studio album, Servants in Heaven, Kings in Hell. This album, released September 19, 2006, also through Baby Grand Records, marked another significant contribution to his expansive discography.
There was a sound that we cultivated, you know what I mean? And for us to deviate from that sound, it's like, it's sort of your responsibility.
I got you.
But it becomes sort of where you feel like you're handcuffed after a while, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it in a negative way, although I guess it seems that I am, you know? But it's like
Would you like to break out and do more different shit on a Jedi album? Is that what you're asking?
I don't want to make dance records or anything. You know what I mean? But
please don't.
Although
like, I would be interested to hear what one of those tracks would sound like.
I think I am too. I feel like I feel like everyone deals with that. It's the reason you have people do solo records historically in rock, rap, whatever. Why did they do that? Because they felt that they're obligated to make a certain sound with their group, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And satisfy the hunger for that sound, you know what I mean? And so it's not a bad thing to have people love the sound that you created, you know what I mean? It's like, but handcuffs are a real thing. It's not, I'm not gonna pretend like it's not there, you know what I mean?
But you get to basically you get to have your cake and eat it too, because you get to stay true to that sound that you've created with the Jedi album.
Sure.
And then you get to push any area or realm, not dance track realm, but you get to push other areas with a solo.
Of course.
So that's what we can expect from the solo album.
Of course.
In 2006, Vinnie Paz ventured back into his solo career by releasing his debut album, The Sound and the Fury. This album, which featured guest appearances from Apathy and Outer Space, was hosted by DJ Question and comprised 19 tracks. The following year, Paz reconvened with Army of the Pharaohs to release their second album, Ritual of Battle, on September 21st, 2007, under Baby Grand Records. The album's lead single, Bloody Tears, featured Planetary, Dope Nixon, D-Maz, and Paz, and was produced by DJ Question. The track drew inspiration from the tune of the same name from the Castlevania video game series. On November 11, 2008, Jedi Mind released their 6th studio album, A History of Violence, which sold 4,451 copies in its first week. This release followed a series of summer projects from the Jedi Mind crew, including their first DVD.
If you don't like my shit, you just don't like my shit. But people that know that my sword is still sharp, it comes from this fear of me watching guys that we idolized like disappear for 5 years, come back, and they sound like the old uncle at the barbecue rhyming. Like there's current legends now that sound old. You know what I'm saying? One thing I don't is sound old. If you don't like my style, you don't like my style, you don't like my content.
In 2010, Army of the Pharaohs released their 3rd studio album, The Unholy Terror, on March 30th, though it was made available earlier on March 19 via ughh.com. This album was released through Baby Grand Records and Paz's label, Enemy Soil. That same year, Paz released his debut solo album, Season of the Assassin, marking a significant step forward in his career. Critics praised the album for its grimy, braggadocious, and unique storytelling abilities. Sean Ryan of Hip Hop DX noted that it would make critics who dismiss Paz as just another hardcore rapper rethink their stance. Originally intended to be titled Assassin's Creed, the name was changed due to legal issues with Ubisoft. The album officially came out on June 22, 2010. A few months later, on October 26, 2010, Paz released Prayer for the Assassin. This digital-only release included 4 remixed tracks from the Season of the Assassin and featured a music video for the track Keep Moving On.
I lost my job at the factory and that's disastrous. They said it's due to regulations and higher taxes. They ain't give me no notice, they knocked me off my axis. I can't pay the electric bill, it's total blackness. I suggested some incentives for innovation, but that was met with resistance like it's a sin of Satan. I'm losing my patience over here, I'm sick of waiting. And I ain't never expect to be in this situation.
In 2011, Jedi Mind came out with their 7th studio album, Violence begets violence. This album marked a significant change for the group, as it was the first one without Stoop's production. According to Paz, after their previous album, A History of Violence, Stoop lost interest in producing hip-hop and wanted to explore new genres. Paz and Just Allah decided to proceed without him, after realizing that waiting for Stoop's inspiration was no longer viable. Stoop moved on to work on other projects, while Jedi Mind brought in new producers to maintain their signature hardcore hip-hop sound. Paz continued his solo career by releasing his second studio album, God of the Serengeti, on October 22, 2012. This album followed Season of the Assassin from 2010. Critics noted that while Paz's distinctive raspy flow and vivid imagery remained engaging, some lyrics were perplexing. Despite this, God of the Serengeti was well received by his loyal fanbase and solidified his standing in the underground hip-hop scene. In 2013, Paz hosted Digital Dynasty 23, a continuation of the popular mixtape series released on January 31. The collective Paz had formed released 2 albums in 2014, In Death Reborn on April 22 and Heaven Lies the Crown on October 21. Stoop rejoined Jedi Mind during this time, while Just Allah left the group again.
As we're all aware, Just Allah left Jedi Mind last year. He left Army of the Pharaohs. And Esoteric, he had some mean things to say about you on Twitter. I wanted to know, like, did you see what he said? Do you care? Do you have a response to it? How do you feel about him pretty much flipping out of nowhere?
I know he he was talking reckless around Christmas time, like he just went bananas on like this big string of tweets or some shit. It's like, I don't know. He's harmless, man. He's just, I think he's just feeling a little left out. You know, we dropped 2 albums and everything, and we're all, you know, you see us all on stage together rocking. I think it's a natural reaction. People get sad around the holidays.
It sucks for the fans because, like, for me, like, I was a big fan of him with Vinnie, and their last album together I think was awesome, and I would have loved to have heard him on those 2 albums. And it's just, I don't think he realizes that he's kind of like cannibalizing his own fan base by doing that.
Yeah, I can't really speak for him. I would wait for his album. If you're a fan, I really have no other comment about it. You know, I think, you know, he's harmless, man. You know, not really sweating it.
Just Allah later got obliterated on the track Guest in Hip Hop from Diabolic.
A guest in hip-hop, White Devil, I am Morning Star. And you've been listening to too much Lord Jamal with corny bars. All you was a common loudmouth who passed out and puke on Block McCloud's couch. I'll knock this clown out at his mama's townhouse, where he dreams of dropping hits about squeezing Glocks of fictional crimes he will not commit. Word.
With Stoop back in production, they released their 8th studio album, The Thief and the Fallen, on June 2, 2015. In 2016, Vinnie Paz returned with his 3rd full-length solo album, The Cornerstone of the Corner Store. After over 2 decades in the industry, Paz showcased his expertise and respect for the craft with this independently released album on his label, Enemy Soil Records. The Cornerstone of the Corner Store epitomizes a lifetime of dedication to hip-hop, solidifying Paz's status as a seasoned veteran.
I feel like people who fall off historically in any genre are people that went away for long periods of time and tried to come back, and in that time they lost their connection to what they were started in the first place. I never allowed that to happen. From our earliest demos, it kept like, I have to be in the studio or else I go crazy, you know. It's like sanctuary. So constantly making music, I think, contributes to consistency.
2 years later, in 2018, Paz released his 4th solo album, The Pain Collector, also under Enemy Soil Records. This album features 19 tracks, highlighting Paz's signature hardcore style, delivering raw and powerful lyrics over gritty underground beat and back to some of his roots as an artist. The album touches on various topics, including the Philadelphia lifestyle, crime, and social commentary, further cementing Paz's reputation for unfiltered lyrical content. And in 2020, Paz continued his prolific solo career by releasing his 5th album, As Above, So Below. The following year, on April 23, 2021, he released Burn Everything That Bears Your Name, continuing to build his discography with compelling and intense music. On November 18, 2022, Paz unveiled Torture in the Name of God's Unconditional Love, showcasing his unwavering commitment to his craft.
You want real revolution? Storm the White House. You want real revolution? You know, Viva la Revolution? Do what they did in Egypt. Storm the government, man. You know what was happening in Occupy New York? People were going down there, interviewing people. Yo, what are you doing down here? I don't know, dude. I'm smoking weed and bitches. That's what some people were saying. Why are you there? Do you even know why you're there? What did it do? What are you doing? I'm about real revolution, man. If you're going to do it, do it. Let's get some guns, AR-15s, Russian AKs. Let's take motherfuckers out, man. You know what I'm saying? The government should be scared of the people. The people should not be scared of the government. And the people are petrified of the government, man, for no reason. How many of them is there? A few hundred, 1,000, 2,000? How many of it is us? What's that? 3 billion people on the planet Earth? We can revolt. We can revolt anytime we want to, man. People don't care.
Most recently, on November 17th, 2023, Vinnie Paz released his latest album, All Our Guests in the House of God. This album reflects his continuous evolution as an artist and his dedication to producing impactful hip-hop music. Each release stresses Paz's relentless drive and ability to remain relevant in hip-hop's ever-changing landscape with the help of other talent like C-Lance, Stu Bangers, and DJ Premier. So after breaking down the long history of this artist's work, it's clear as day to see how he has made a massive impact in the culture of hip-hop and became a voice for the underground. What's your thoughts on Paz? And what do you think were his most influential track in changing the narrative of mainstream music? Help us out by liking, sharing, and commenting. And make sure to check out these other videos if you want more info about some of hip-hop's roots. Thanks for hanging out with us, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this every week. And of course, as always, we will see you in the next one.